Well, hello, Gertie. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm already touching you again. Oh, my God. I guess it's just me. It's my habit. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good.
Are you? Did you watch the Emmys last night? Not the Emmys, the Grammys.
I didn't. I actually didn't, but I heard they were great. So you have to tell me about it.
Best Grammys that I have seen in years.
Really?
Even though it was overshadowed with the loss of Whitney Houston.
Terrible.
A great loss, a great talent,
Yeah,
a great
definitely.
loss. But the way it was handled, the tributes to her were just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, just from the very get-go, it was handled so well.
Wow.
They also did a little tribute to Etta James.
Yeah, I wished I would have seen it for that reason. I like her.
Oh, just excellent. And you know how they always run the people we've lost throughout the year, whether it's the Academy Awards or the Grammys, whatever. It always amazes me how many great talents we lose in a short amount of time.
That's right.
Yeah, doesn't it get you
yeah,
too?
It does, and I will think, oh, yeah, I forgot they had passed too.
As far as Whitney Houston goes, so of course she's well known for her song in The Bodyguard and I Will Always Love You, and Jennifer Hudson sang that.
Oh,
did it so with so much class. She didn't try to do anything extra, upstage it, or anything like that. I can't even imagine anyone else other than Jennifer Hudson
doing it. Yeah,
she's
talented
her
too.
Her voice is amazing. You could tell it was extremely emotional because, you know, it hasn't been that long when she lost her own family members that were murdered.
Right.
And I'm sure it triggered a lot of, you know, memory and that emotional feeling. But the entire night was just amazing. A reunion of the Beach Boys.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, all those good vibrations.
I'm sorry I missed it.
I'm
sorry I missed it.
And I forgot what they said, but something like 20 or 25 years since they had all been together.
Wow.
So a tribute to the Beach Boys, and then they performed their own, you know, some of their own classics. And Glenn Campbell. There was a tribute to Glenn Campbell, and then he actually got on the stage and sang his own song.
Oh, wow.
And
I'm sorry I missed it. It sounded like a great,
And then I understand that a couple of the band members are one was his daughter. And do you remember who else plays in the band? Is it his son or son-in-law? Something like that.
I'm not familiar with. Exactly.
Well, I think everybody knows by now that Glenn Campbell has Alzheimer's, and he still is pretty cognizant most of the time. But apparently when he has his own family members on stage with him, it helps him to stay focused and remember the words to the songs.
Okay.
And speaking of songs, there's another little trivia thing I just learned. You know, I Will Always Love You. You know, Whitney Houston's big, she'll always be known for that song, okay? But did you know that Dolly Parton wrote that song?
I did hear that on the news, yeah. And I could see Dolly Parton doing that song too, yeah.
She's another amazing talent.
Yeah.
You know? But the entire night was just, I'm glad I watched 3.5 hours.
Wow.
So you had more important things to do for 3.5 hours.
Just a few more things.
Well, it tells you my life doesn't, but it opened with Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, I like him.
You know, he saved rock and roll when disco was taking over and we were losing rock and roll. Single-handedly, they give credit to Bruce Springsteen for saving rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then Bruno Mars did an amazing thing. But if we're done with that, and of course, you know, again,
I love your little vintage jacket.
My vintage jacket. Oh, well, then let me take off my glasses and give you a little of this. Huh? How is this? Huh?
Cute.
I love peacocks.
I know you do.
And, you know, I have a big thing with peacocks. It all started really when I did my backpacking through India.
Okay.
And the peacock is the big national bird of India, but I always loved peacocks.
How can you not? They're just gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. When that tail opens up, when they screech, it's not very pretty.
Right.
Okay. But when that tail's open, it's amazing. But I have had this peacock fan for years. And where do we go these days where you can just whip open a peacock fan, right?
Well, look, you had it. You just happen to have it.
All you need is a little Channel 13 television show, okay? But I thought when I put on my little vintage jacket this morning, I thought, I am going to open my peacock fan, huh? What the heck? I think I lived in the 1920s.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, and you know, we did a show on hair and the psychology of hair,
Right.
and that's almost symbolic for the male peacock when they open up their feathers. So it's kind of their their tail feathers is kind of their.
Why is it the males in our animal kingdom are the ones that have
the pretty hair,
pretty feathers, pretty colors, pretty everything? I actually have a couple of peacock fans. One of them is just the round type, but I love everything about the 1920s. I love the music, I love the clothing, I love the furniture, and I've always felt I must have been there during that time because it seems very familiar. Don't tell me I look old enough to have been born in the 20s, but I just love that era. Okay?
Well, you were mentioning something. One of your friends in California.
Yes, I have two friends in California whose names are Christine and Monique.
Okay.
That actually emailed us, and I have the email here telling us how hysterical we were on one of our shows where we were talking about hair.
Okay, the psychology of it and how people respond with good hair or bad hair, or good hair days, bad hair days.
Would you remember what you said about cutting hair during that time?
Well, I know even the story in the Bible about...
Speaking of hair, mine's always sticking out on this side.
Who was it? Samson and Delilah. When she cut his hair off, it weakened him.
Oh, definitely.
My son had gone through a phase where he was pulling his hair down in his face, and I shaved him because I just had his attitude, had it with his attitude, and that changed him drastically.
Okay.
And I just know with my clients themselves, they're saying, you know, this is good therapy for me when I come and get my hair done and I have nice hair.
Okay, and the reason Christine and Monique sent this because during our show, the things you were saying were more pro cutting hair than long hair. You were more positive about it. People's attitudes got better. They felt lighter, freer, just felt happier.
Yeah.
But here's what they said. Did you know that the Army enlisted Navajos to track in the war, during the wartime, because of their excellent skill at it? But once their hair was cut, they could no longer track because the Navajos said that their hair acts like an antenna and that their intuition, their intuitive powers diminished. They lost that.
You know, when you told me about that, that reminded me of the movie Avatar. You know, how they connected their tail to the horses.
Yes.
Kind of the same.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, same kind of idea, yeah.
So I'm sure what this is going to do then is open up, and we invite anybody who has any comments to email us and give us their point of view about that or their own personal experience. But
maybe we should travel and do documentary on the psychology of hair.
Well, let's do it, and maybe we could get a collection. We can take up a collection for somebody for our travel expenses.
Exactly.
How would that be? Yeah. But speaking of different psychologies, let's talk about the importance of disassociation. Okay. We both know quite a bit about that because during traumatic times in a person's life or drama or whatever is happening in a person's life, there are times we just have to learn how to disassociate, okay? How do you disassociate?
I get real quiet. I don't like to talk too much. I like to kind of evaluate things. Really just get real quiet. I don't want to spend too much energy because I'm already given too much energy.
But what you're probably doing while you get quiet like that is processing.
Yes, definitely processing.
Yeah, which is not the same thing as disassociation.
Okay. So are you saying I'm being healthy about it?
Well, no, but people have to process whatever's going on with them emotionally. But healthy is not the right word. The truth of the matter is most people disassociate in a very unhealthy way.
Right.
And drugs.
Drugs, alcohol, those definitely would be one way to kind of
disassociate.
Disassociate.
Because what happens then is you flip from the left brain hemisphere into the right brain hemisphere.
Okay.
The left brain is the thinking side, the logical side, which if you're processing, that's the hemisphere you're in. But the minute a person is in an altered state of consciousness, like drinking, drugging, whatever, they flip into that right side, which, you know, people that are shy to dance, all of a sudden they become great dancers or great lovers or whatever when you know, flip.
Yeah.
And that's how most people choose to disassociate, is in some kind of an unhealthy way.
Okay.
If you keep it in the way you're talking about, just getting quiet, processing, which I understand, you work through it your way. But you work through it, right?
Yes. Well, I think so. I mean, I might need therapy later, but...
yeah, we all need a little therapy now and then, a little help from our friends. What usually happens when you internalize like that is high blood pressure.
Yes, I can understand that.
And?
Ulcers.
Strokes.
Stress, strokes, yeah.
Heart attacks.
Heart attacks.
That kind of thing.
I mean, I think we could even go as far as saying creating an illness within your body, like a cancer or hypertension.
Because everything emotional that's of a not such a pleasant manner that's kept within will manifest physically.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
People, like, let's say you're watching a scary movie, okay, and you get all wrapped up in that scary movie, right? If you get too afraid, what do?
My hands will start sweating.
Not what I was thinking. I always remind myself, this is only a movie.
Right.
Okay, if I get too wrapped up emotionally in something, I'll say, this is only a movie. And at that point, actually, what you do is disassociate.
Okay.
So I would like to demonstrate a technique for anybody who's interested in watching us, and how you can literally learn to disassociate from anything emotional in a very quick and easy manner. Will you be my partner?
I would love to be your partner.
Okay. But besides my co-host on this show, I'm going to take your gorgeous hair, but what we're going to do is just show your great earring anyway, okay? Now I'm going to place my hand right here on your shoulder.
Okay.
Now what I'd like for you to do, and anyone at home that's watching, you do the same thing and have somebody stand there with you that can place a hand on either side of your shoulders, okay? We've got this hand right here. Now I would like for you to project yourself, visualize yourself standing across the room. Okay. You probably need to close your eyes, maybe not. And while you see yourself, when you have a really good picture of yourself across the room, just nod your head up and down. Okay? At that point, what I did was give a little squeeze, firm squeeze on Onea's shoulder. Okay? Now, open your eyes, Onea. Look around the room a little bit. Just look around. Okay. When she did, I went back and squeezed the shoulder, and I saw her pupils go back across the room. That's how I know it worked. If I had not seen that happen, I would have had to do it again because it didn't work, the particular procedure. Anytime in the future, if she gets stressed, what are you going to do?
Squeeze my shoulder?
Right.
Okay.
All she has to do is reach up nonchalantly and give it, you don't even have to squeeze it, just give it a little tap, and automatically she will project outside of herself.
Now, does it have to be the shoulder you touched?
It does.
Okay.
It does. It has to be the shoulder that whoever the partner was gave you a firm squeeze.
Okay, interesting.
But from now on, for the rest of your life, that is integrated into your brain.
I love it.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
I mean,
Well,
one second, okay, and you're projecting. So if you get wrapped up, like let's say you're having a heated discussion with someone, okay, whether it's your husband, a family member, your kids, a friend, a boss, doesn't matter who, anybody that you're starting to lose it, you know, you're losing it, you're getting your emotions all wrapped up in it. Just nonchalantly reach up, give yourself a little touch on that shoulder, and you will automatically project outside of yourself.
I love it.
Get
and I'm
control.
sure we all could use that technique for any situation.
Any situation, because we have stressful jobs. We have, you know, stressful family things, anything. Life is stressful, okay? And who can take a vacation anytime, right?
Right.
So this is like a little mini vacation.
Okay.
It just projects you outside of yourself.
I like
Isn't that
it.
great?
I
Let's
love
toast
it.
to that.
Yes, let's definitely toast to that.
To that. Okay, cheers.
Well, that is interesting. Well, I know you've written a few things down, so I don't know if we should go over.
Mostly what I wanted to talk about was just that, because what happens when you get wrapped up in that stressful situation, internally you get this, it's referred to as the fight or flight.
Right.
Fight or flight syndrome.
And we've all been there in one case or another, yeah.
Yeah, who hasn't? And instead of fighting, okay, we do this.
Okay.
Okay, it's just a little thing. What I wrote down, because it's a lot to remember, is that physiologically the human body is made up in a certain kind of a way. And it's 60% pleasure.
Okay, good percentage.
A good percentage, yeah, it's a little over the halfway mark, and 40% pain. But when the body gets out of that balance, okay, that's called homeostasis, when it registers more pain than pleasure is when internal things start happening. Okay. Whether it's, you know, a stressful situation on the job or otherwise, the balance is no longer this particular equation. So then we go into that survival warning, you know, fight or flight. It's like an internal clock telling you, hey, we're out of whack. Okay. So internally is when these things start happening. The homeostasis is out of balance. We register more pain than pleasure. And we go into this.
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight.
Well, and this is probably a good topic to talk about right now, because a lot of people are experiencing a lot of shifting right now with what's going on in the universe and just the times that we're in. And this would be a really good tool for everybody to learn.
For everybody to use. And I hope anybody watching this show at least will practice this little technique for themselves. And if it doesn't work for you at first, don't worry about it. Have, you know, somebody keep working with you until it does. If you're not a good visualizer, if you have trouble visualizing, okay, like I keep visualizing gorgeous hair like yours, and it hasn't happened. But if you have trouble visualizing, then start practicing. You're a good visualizer, right?
Yeah. That's how I learn things, is by visualizing things.
Well, and that's how the brain sees things. But if you're not a good person, or you're a good person, but if you're not good at visualizing, you can practice and improve that with things you know, like close your eyes. Now, don't think of a fire truck. Absolutely do not think of a fire truck, right? What do you see?
Fire truck.
Right. You can start with things you know, like your home, your house, your living room, your children, a fire truck, you know, butterfly, things that you know. And your ability to visualize will improve, okay? But we've talked about this before. The brain sees in pictures.
Right.
And so when we visualize, we get that into our brain, which is that goal-striving organism, right? Doesn't know how to fail.
Right.
It'll work and work to make that happen, okay? So take the emotions that you have and go into something positive, right?
Okay.
Like, are you happy with your life?
Pretty happy.
Okay, you don't want to change it in any particular way?
I'd love to travel more, for sure, and travel is always the top of my to-dos.
Top of my list, mine too. I've had going to Spain. I've been fortunate enough to have traveled quite a few countries in Europe, and mostly backpacking it. And I stay in hostels, and so, you know, I don't let lack of money ever stop me. I just go. Okay,
that's great.
Well, it's been stopping me, though, because of time and other things that, you know, just haven't fallen into place. But travel, all right, so what you could do is start visualizing yourself in the countries that you'd like to go visit.
Hawaii.
Okay, Hawaii.
Not that it's
not a country,
but I would love to go to Hawaii.
You sound like one of our politicians that just said he thinks Mars could become another state. But I'm not going to mention any names, okay? But yeah, Hawaii feels like a different country, doesn't it? Just because it's beautiful, tropical, and very different from snow and that kind of thing. But and different culture, really.
Yeah,
it's different cultures feels that way. But you could visualize yourself in the countries that you'd like to go to. And the brain will work and work and work and work until that happens.
Well, and I do something like that. I actually do the vision boards and cut out the pictures of the places I'd like to go. So that's one way to kind of train your brain to see that.
I have a vision board, too. I have a brand new Mercedes on my vision board at this house.
That's great.
I even have an oven, a range on my vision board. And I don't even cook a lot, but I just love
what it looks like.
what it is,
Well, maybe you need the chef.
There you go. That's what I was missing. That
Chef
little
by
ingredient
this range.
by that range. But yes, most people what they do is step back into that old habit. They don't change anything.
Right.
You know, as far as the way to deal with certain things like the stress in their lives. If you're used to grabbing a six-pack on your way home and you get home and you know, have a few every night to help you relax, even though you may start your visualization, you're going to end up going back into the old habits.
Okay.
And that's what we're trying to tell people. There are healthier ways to de-stress and create different things in your life, right?
Yeah.
Right. What else is on your vision board? If you don't mind sharing it.
Always travel, for sure. Peace of mind, and that seems really silly, but not just peace of mind, just way to decompress, way to keep a balance.
Doesn't seem silly at all.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it's a huge thing, but to most people, they probably wouldn't think about putting just peace of mind on there.
No, I think as you get older, peace of mind has a whole different meaning than when you're younger.
Right, definitely.
And I remember years ago someone asked me, you know, what I hope to gain in life, and I said happiness. And I remember this person said, I just want to be comfortable.
Okay.
And he didn't mean materially,
Right.
He meant like in his own skin.
Right.
And I understand that now.
Yeah.
You know.
I do too. The older I get, I definitely understand and appreciate that.
I did want to see this where it says we tend to dwell on the past, which unfortunately is almost always the negative, right? When we think about the past.
Right.
And I don't mean everybody. Please, you know, people out there, don't feel like you're the exception to the rule, because there's always an exception to the rule. We don't mean everyone. But when you tend to dwell on past things, it's almost always the negative.
Right.
Almost. Why is that?
I don't know if it's the pain. I don't know if it was the pain of the experience, or I don't know. That's a good one. That's a good
thing
question,
to think about. That's a good thing for us to dwell upon, is why people do that, why we dwell on negative instead of more of the positive. And like I say, not everyone does. But what it tells us is that the importance of thought if you want to take control of your own life, the emotions, the feelings, what do we change?
Our thoughts. We change the way, and it's in a habit. You know, it's like going home and having a 6-pack of beer. It becomes a habit. It's the same thing with our thoughts.
Right. So if we want to take control, that's the important thing. If we want to take control over our own lives, we simply take control of our thoughts, the thinking process behind things. And I like that a lot. But let me just see if this worked.
Okay.
Did you feel yourself kind of projecting?
Yeah, I seen my eyes go back to the spot that I was looking at. Yeah.
I did too. And does it always have to be like in this corner or that corner across the room? No. But in order to project your feelings outside of yourself, and you're projecting away from you, you do have to visualize yourself somewhere,
right?
You know, across the room or in a corner or whatever, in order to do that. But I did. I touched it. So now when I touch you, my son no longer can play the drinking game.
Right.
We're going to say, well, we were experimenting to see if she still had the detachment technique going. But it's amazing. I don't know whoever came up with it. I learned it probably 30 years ago.
Wow.
And to this day, I tell you when I use it a lot, it's when I'm in the dentist chair.
Okay.
I have this, you know, big fear about dentists. And when I'm wanting to get out of that fear, I do the projection.
Okay. Interesting.
I also have a little toothpick that I carry and poke myself in the finger. You know, so it hurts, so it distracts me. Isn't that crazy?
Well, whatever works.
You're right, whatever works in the dental chair. Do you do any of that?
I like to listen to music, so I can just kind of tune things out, so yeah.
Speaking of music, you know, we were talking about how we're balanced, how we've been created so perfectly, really. It's unbelievable how we've been created, but one of the things that does balance the right and left parts of our brain is listening to classical music.
They've done studies on that.
Right. It creates a whole brain, like a balance, a whole brain kind of thing. So, you know, if we want to study something or learn something, we should play classical music.
I'll have to do that.
But I can see you rocking away in the dentist chair, just projecting away. But, you know, as always, I had a great time just getting together.
I did too.
love
Great
it.
show.
Even though we talked about a little bit of tragedy that happened in the last day or two, and a great loss. But I still have you, friend.
Yes, I do.
And you still have me, and I'm glad we're here, aren't you?
And that's what we're talking about.
And that's what we're talking about.